Hi, John. Welcome to BizTalk. It's my great pleasure having you today. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Great. Thank you for your time. So let's start talking about yourself and your venture.
Okay. Well, I'm the founder and CEO of Bubbl, as you know, and as the audience will find out. We basically help brands supercharge their mobile marketing. So we're a company that produces APIs, so they plug into any app. So it's like a little bit of clever technology like Stripe or Twilio, where you just literally plug it in and it brings Stripe bring payment tools, Twilio bring telephony, and we bring mobile marketing. So that's essentially what we do. We're similar to, we plan to be as big as those companies and enabling rich mobile marketing tools. So it's all triggered by time and place. And our tools work even when an app's closed. We've got an investment round open at the moment. You know, you can see why we're excited. We're an experienced team. We've had lots of support acknowledging our innovation from people like Innovate UK. Our tech's already been deployed and we've got growing demand and a very clear go-to-market strategy with potentially very significant returns as well. And we provide a solution to one of the biggest missed opportunities in advertising, and that's out-of-app mobile marketing. Now, when you look at the world of apps that we operate in, there's a lot of problems there. There are over 7.5 million apps. The pandemic sent new app bills skyrocketing. There's no sign of decline, but despite their promise, the potential is hindered by a lot of challenges. The number one reason for uninstalls when someone's got an app that they've just downloaded from the App Store is poor user experience. And 71% of people ditch the app after just 3 days. And a lot of money is spent on getting those customers. So it's pretty annoying for people when they lose them. And advertising and marketing on mobile is totally inside an app. You have to have an app open for it to pop up currently. But 66% of marketers can't even measure the return of investment on their in-app advertising. And in 2019, brands lost £42 billion to mobile ad fraud. And that's because of the automated method of placing digital adverts inside apps. It's overtaken credit card fraud, and it's getting worse, which is quite shocking. So we're a really experienced team. We're a team of career marketers. We've had a big vision as of 2016, based on the way the ad tech industry was evolving then and is evolving now. I've had 2 successful businesses previously, a PR and marketing company and an innovation consultancy. Charlotte was a board level agency product director. So she's worked with products and people, across the board from Mumsnet, Ford, Microsoft, etc. Mark's a very seasoned software engineer. He's worked for companies like The Guardian and Ministry of Justice, and he expertly manages our architecture and our build. And we're all full-time in the business, and between us, we've got 65 years of diverse experience and a great black book between us of all the C-suites and the agencies and the big, ad tech industry businesses. So essentially, just to give you an idea of what we do, we set about to disrupt the mobile app sector and talk about how industry could use their apps for marketing. And essentially, since the pandemic, it's become even more important. But ad tech is a bit like a dark art. It's very complicated for brands to engage with. But things started to change with geofencing technology. And you can see here a geofence around the O2 to give you an example. But this campaign was run by a company, Burger King. They spent 2 years hard coding their app for a very special 9-day campaign. They brought 9 different partners together to build something that we basically, at the same time, were working out how to build plugins for everybody to be able to do this sort of thing. They geofenced 20,000 McDonald's car parks, and anyone who got the Burger King app who went into those locations, they triggered a voucher to their phone for a 1-cent Whopper. Some people drove straight out of the car park into Burger King. Others went into the McDonald's and said, how can I use this voucher? And they were directed by the McDonald's staff to the Burger King. So absolutely fantastic for them. It was really cheeky. It won loads of awards. And what it shows is that this type of technology for mobile marketing can be really, really incredible. I mean, number 1 in the App Store, there were 686 within 48 hours. And it was one of the best campaigns they've ever done. So whilst they were doing that, we spent 2 years, the same 2 years as it happens, building our tech to make it really easy for any app owner to achieve the same thing. So, it's a shame Burger King didn't know us at the time, but we've now got this tech that we can take to anybody out there to do anything like that, but also to use video content, audio, surveys, footfall counts, holographic messages, deep links, and we're building technology to be able to do 2D augmented reality and live streaming triggered by location, which will come later in the year. So, I've got loads of examples I can show people of the sort of things that we do, across the games industry, across tourism, for publishers, for train companies, discrete geofencing in festivals, that sort of thing. And essentially we've had great success doing this. So, over the last 9 months, we're really strapped for resources. We'd love to be able to scale up fast. We've got a great pipeline. But essentially, we are having some success with onboarding clients with the very small team that we've got. And what our investment round is about is to really get the money in to be able to supercharge this. So there we go. I mean, I have a lot more I can tell you, a lot more slides, a lot more information.
Absolutely.
But I suspect you've got some questions now.
Of course. I mean, first of all, let me thank you for the very clear and straightforward pitch of your company. Now, absolutely, I have some questions. So let me start with the first one. I mean, you say perfectly well. Applications are okay, are very nice and very trendy, but the point is, the smartphone can't contain thousands of applications, even if you're not going to download all the applications right now. Any business has an application almost. As you say perfectly well, I'm going to download today and delete tomorrow, because actually I'm not going to use it, right? Just taking space, my battery goes down. What's the point? Yeah. Now, how can you solve this problem? I mean, how can you fix it? Means, how can you make, for example, applications more efficient? I mean, you told already, but actually, technically, how does it work? And how can you help businesses to create an application and maybe to keep the application? And one more question: what do you think about web application?
Okay, so web applications and wallets and some things like that are very much on our radar. It doesn't matter if it's a web application, if it's got an app format, then whether it's hybrid or not, we can create a plugin for that. Now our plugins are currently for Android, iOS, Flutter type apps. So we do cover some of the most popular hybrid varieties, but it's built for the native apps, which are really where you've got the strongest opportunity as a brand to build your own audience and create your own sort of channel, if you like, which is what we're supporting them to do. So let me give you an example, say a festival. Last year we started off with, we were working very much in the music, entertainment, sport and leisure sort of sector around ticketing and things like that. And the clients that we were working with, some of them were music festivals. So if I give you that as an example, they would plug our tech into the main festival app, which normally is only, on someone's phone for a very short amount of time. The festival app owner might use our technology for customer service. So they might notify people to not to use gate A and to use gate B as they're approaching the actual venue, but the message would only go to people as they break a geofence entering the area. So they only get that message once. Not everybody gets it. It's just the people who are breaking that geofence who get it. So they're clearly traveling in the right direction, going to the event. So they're getting people at the right time in the right place. You might then have, say, for example, WaterAid. It might be a sponsor of the event. So when people are stood in the queue for the tap or for the toilets, they might get a bit of video content about how far people have to travel to get water in third world countries, plus a deep link button to be able to donate to that charity. So it's playing on where people are sat there in a queue that's been geofenced. The area has been geofenced so that people can actually engage with people who are in that space. You might have a geofence around the campsite, and you might have Unilever doing a Clearasil promotion. They've got buckets dotted around the location with buckets of free product. And as people leave the campsite in the morning, they might nudge them to tell them where they've got stock to go and get a free sample of Clearasil. Or the main stage might have a geofence around it, and the artist backstage might do a bit of video content larking around with some of his bandmates, or do an interview with somebody, or give premium content, or the download of a new single, or the ability to buy exclusive merchandise because you're in the audience. So you're getting that immediate engagement there and then. Now that's at the venue itself, but afterwards you've then got ongoing merchandise, ongoing ticketing, ongoing engagement from the artists, ongoing video to keep the audience engaged and to build the momentum. So this is very much about supporting loyalty and using mobile as a tool to do marketing. It's not necessarily trying to replace ads to mobile that are just pop up and very specific, very strict content styles. It's more about unlocking mobile to be more of a location-based marketing tool.
That's okay. How many applications do I need? If I go to the venue, okay, in a concert with thousands of people, you pop up message to me anyway, advertising, whatever it is. Can all of them come from one application?
Yes. So if we're plugged into the festival app, then the festival app owner will be orchestrating a campaign using our technology, piggybacking the messaging system on the phone, so that they're engaging with the audience on behalf of their sponsors, third parties, etc., in much the same way they would with social media. So it's a new type of channel engagement, if you like. So they would be managing that on behalf of sponsors, on behalf of the artists, on behalf of the promoters, on behalf of the merchandise, on behalf of the retailers, sort of on site, etc.
What happens to the lifetime value of the application? I mean, it is very good. I can download the application, use during the festival and after just delete it.
Well, if we sort of go back to the Burger King example, if I just take you back to, if I just sort of rattle off a few bits from that one, let me just find that slide a second. So, for them, they generated, with that one campaign, it was a 37-to-1 return on investment. They generated £15 million additional revenue in that year. And it actually increased their highest weekly traffic to store since 2015. And mobile sales were 3 times what they normally are during the campaign. And they remained 2 times for the whole of the rest of the year. So the long-term impact on retention and ongoing engagement is significant. I mean, that was just a 9-day campaign, which multiplied by 3 their engagement during the campaign, but actually it sat at a residual 2 times what it would have been before afterwards as well. So I think that's quite a good example of how, so with this type of technology, you can keep the engagement going, and therefore the retention increases and the people deleting the app drops off. I mean, everyone will know that, now if you've got an app that isn't actually really engaging with an audience, it's automatically deleted from the App Store by, Apple or Google. So it's becoming more and more important to have something that actually keeps the engagement going as a tool. And the other piece, of course, Max, is that, there's a whole mid-market of brands out there who, don't sell advertising in their apps, but want to be able to use their apps better as a channel. They rely very heavily on Facebook. They feel that they don't really have ownership of their audience or their content, and they can't really reach their actual loyal customers in the way that they would want to. And, you've also got the challenge that, even railway companies like, South West Rail or someone like that, they're telling people they're creating a reputation problem for themselves, because on social media, they're telling people of an issue in Reading when most of their audience isn't in Reading. And it's basically giving an impression that they've got a service problem when they only have a service problem in Reading. So, there's all sorts of challenges that the broad brush of social media and trying to get it down to a postcode actually causes. I mean, we've got the benefit of 5G coming, really, which, I know it's, there's a lot of controversy about what the benefits are going to be, but there is one big benefit in that, it means that the way that we engage and consume content and gain information will move away from just being on screen. But it also means that you can be very precise about where you're engaging with. So, we'll be able to get down to 10 centimeter precision. We'll be able to engage with people inside on multiple floors, because that sort of technology will be unlocked by wide adoption of 5G.
I can see the upside also in privacy. The problem with application, you have pushing all the time, right? Even when actually you don't need, and it's become very overwhelming and quite boring. And in this case, because you are just geolocated, it comes when actually you want it to come, right? Because you are there, and maybe if I'm McDonald's, I'm going to McDonald's not because to buy clothes, but maybe to eat. So I can't believe it's pretty clear which are the upwards advantages of this. Can we talk a bit about the business model? How does it work?
Yeah. So at the moment, the investment round that we have now, which is sort of pre-seed seed, the purpose of this round is to really prove out the commercial models of the business. So we've been working very much with a license model. We've been charging a monthly license, which gives, practically open access to, so all the different tools, the ability to set up as many geofences as you like to engage with audiences, no limitation on geography, no limitation on languages, etc. So, so that's how we've been working at the moment, but we know that the industry works on a usage model. So, so when we're dealing with app developers and we're trying to get them to plug our tech into their apps, what they want to do is to basically pay us a usage fee. So as a number of engagements or messages are sent out to people, that so that they pay by the usage, which is fine. That's a model that's very familiar in this sector. And we've also developed a low-level SaaS model as well. So we haven't released it yet because we need the funds to be able to invest in our website. So it's the self-sign-up process. But we do actually have low-level parametered geofence numbers and campaign numbers that you can only do a certain number a month for very, very small micro businesses to be able to just sign up and plug this into their app really seamlessly, because we're virtually no code. It is literally 3 lines of code to plug in and then get into the platform. So it's very, very straightforward as from an operations point of view. And we're trying to make it as easy for someone to actually, sort of pay from a business model point of view. And I think because we're doing, minimum 12-month contracts, it's, there's actually relatively little churn, because once someone's got our tech plugged in, they're able to generate revenue on the back of it as an additional vehicle to sell to sponsors, or, if they're a media channel like a radio station, they can use it for advertisers, but it's not advertising. It's allowing them to share content as opposed to, and run a survey, or, provide some content that's related to somewhere that someone's walking past, like a church or a sort of a historical building or something of that ilk. So, it can really allow brands to enrich what they're doing. And I think it's difficult to know whether it would come out of the traditional ad tech budget, or whether this is a new MarTech budget, or whether it's a content budget or PR marketing budget. It is a new way of engaging with audiences. And it's like a new out of home vehicle and a new experience vehicle. So I think we're, one of the challenges we've had is that we're disrupting a market that's moved very quickly on the back of data, and, and it's become established as because it makes a lot of money. Data makes a lot of money. Our product is essentially, unless someone opts in with first party data and shares that, it's totally anonymized. If you go back to that Burger King example, they didn't have segmented audiences, or they didn't target in any way, shape or form. It was people who went into a McDonald's car park. So That's what it needed. And, I think the starting point for us is that. So, which gives you a great, sort of completely GDPR compliant product. It gives you, sort of Bubbl IDs, which mean that, sort of you can actually do that first party engagement as opposed to it being, sort of reliant on third party data, and segmenting in that way. So it's good.
What about the round? You're doing a seed round now?
Yes, that's right. We're doing a small 500k seed round now. It's pre-seed really, because we've just started generating revenue. We've just started taking on paying clients from the trials and pilots that we've been doing. We're doing a full seed round in the spring, so that will be a £3.5 to £5 million round. And at that point, we'll be able to show all the evidence, that we can scale our pipe, that we can convert our pipeline, scale them, and that they're fully engaged, and we've got opportunities with big partners, sort of moving forward to generate revenue. I think because we're a licensed SaaS-based model, we're expecting that our turnover will, sort of really sort of escalate over the first few years.
Yeah, you're mixing SaaS with the performance model in somehow. But
Yeah.
I do believe it's a good combination and works quite well, in my opinion. SaaS gives you the certainty, right, to get the right amount of money, cover at least the ongoing cost, and performance can make something more.
Yeah, that's
What
right.
about your customer acquisition strategy, and how do you think you're going to scale?
Well, we've spent a lot of time, because we're marketers. I think it's quite natural for us to spend a lot of time on that. And we took full advantage of lockdown last year, of the many lockdowns last year, to sort of spend some time really working on what we call a 24 step strategy. So we know that our beachhead market, once we move away from these direct smaller clients, that we've still got from when we were targeting the music industry and sport and leisure, who are still suffering a bit from the pandemic, we still have retail interest, but actually the real big beachhead market for us is the games industry. So our strategy is working alongside some of the people who really are deeply engaged in that, whether that's leaders in the industry, the actual trade associations, and also we're part of Barclays Connect, which they've got a very a very strong games team who are supporting us to actually to really reach into that sector, and we're also going in through the ad tech side of things as well. And that sector are really looking to bridge physical and digital. So it's one of the biggest sectors for advertising in-app anyway, and to bring the ability to market to an audience out of app as well, and bring some of the gameplay and align some of the gameplay with the physical reality of place. It means that we can add a really rich set of customer engagement tools to those gaming apps that people have on their phone that they're just playing, sort of everyone's got their favorite. I'm not going to tell you what mine is. And, so we all play, some little games and stuff, and to be able to actually have the ability to bridge that, particularly with a lot of retailers and brands getting involved in branding in game, it means that there's an additional alignment that we can bring to that. So we're looking forward to really unlocking that market, and that is one of our primary sectors that we're going after.
What about regions? You are in UK now?
We're in the UK at the moment. We plan to work. I mean, we're actually not restricted in any way, so we can work internationally. We've had interest from brands in Australia, in South Africa, in Singapore, and we've got interest from investors in the US because obviously the US is a really big market for us, and there's huge potential for us to expand there. We have a lot of support from the Department of Trade here. They have been supportive of us in helping us to engage with people in the States, and as do Barclays Global Connect, and being part of that Global Connect program has unlocked a network for us as well. So, we will continue to build on that. And I think that's really what will happen this time next year. I think we'll be probably full on trying to build a much wider market, geography wise. But I think even just becoming there's actually a lot of potential revenue in the UK and Europe. So we will concentrate on that initially, so that we can really prove out the business model. We're going to be partnering with quite a few people that you might traditionally have seen as being just notifications, just data. We've been having a lot of conversations about strategic partnering there, so we become an element of what they can white label and offer to their clients as well. So some of them are already working internationally. So in that case, we might piggyback that to actually be able to expand.
You are an entrepreneur. What's your vision? In 5 years' time, where are you?
5 years' time, we are the go-to mobile marketing tool for apps, in the same way that Stripe is the go-to payments tool for apps, and that we have a brand that's really well known, but probably at that point, I would imagine we will have been acquired by a large player in the space, whether that's someone like Trade Desk or Adobe or, someone else, not sure. We actually would probably appeal to quite a lot of companies that would be in a position to acquire. But I think people will know the name. They'll know it's a business to business product, but I think people will know what Bubbl is for, and will be available as a plugin on practically any self-build app platform at that point.
That's a huge market. It's a very massive market. Everyone, as we say at the beginning, try to have an application. It's very fancy, but I have to be honest, not that many people get any money from an application. So I do believe you're doing something new in somehow, and very helpful, because there are so many, I don't want to use useless because I don't like, but so many underperforming, let me say, applications that can be easily closed because.
Well, it's about loyalty. It's about engaging with your community in a way that builds loyalty. Whether you're a small football club or a school or a large, sort of brand like Red Bull or someone like that, you're striving to build your audience and you're striving to engage them with them. And we apply whether you are a school or a big brand like Red Bull. So, ultimately we will be able to provide a content marketplace in much the same way that ad networks offer ads to publishers. We'll be able to offer content to publishers, and publishers will be able to offer the opportunity to engage with their app owners and their loyal customers for content. That's where we will end up, which will be that's not something that's really included in our forecast, because that's a big picture further down the line. And that's our ambition, is that we will be a driver for that, unlocking that side of content marketing, if you like.
Let me ask you, running a marketing campaign is extremely complicated, very, very expensive, very expensive. So how can you help small brands that they are not McDonald's, right? They don't have so much money to actually run a very effective marketing campaign. Many marketing campaigns are very nice, but they're not effective. So, and in the end of the day, you have to go to the up line and the last line on your business plan, and making some revenue, or your balance sheet, or your economics. Making some revenue and some profit. So how can you help these more brands that actually have just a few thousands maybe to spend?
Because we can help them to drive footfall. So we can drive people to them. Clever use of geofencing and your app, and you've already got an audience that likes you because they've given, effectively space to their alternative brain, on their alternative brain, which is what everyone's mobile is. They've given space to you as an app on there. So they've decided they like you. So, you're just capitalizing on that relationship and making it stronger. And if you make that relationship stronger, you're building a loyal customer, and loyal customers generate far greater revenue and profit than disloyal customers. So I'm stating the obvious, but it is obvious. And, the more that you can do to engage them in a way that isn't, sort of negative or interrupting or irrelevant, because if you're engaging with them at a place and a time that's appropriate, with something that they're going to use, then it's going to strengthen the relationship, which in turn is going to strengthen your profit, because you're going to be driving more traffic from your existing customers. And everybody knows that 90% of your revenue comes from 10% of your customers, so it's those customers, you're building that loyalty, so you're increasing your revenue. So that's the key.
Do you have any message to investors? Why they should give you the money and why they should invest in job? Because startup is first of all team and founders, and why they should invest in Bubbl, and how one day they can exit, because investors one day they would like to make some money.
Well, anyone clever would come in now, because, as I said, we've got a round open now, but in the spring we'll have a bigger round and a much higher valuation. So logic says come in now, and, there's going to be a need to tidy up the cap table at some point. So, that would be quite a fast exit. But anyone looking to make big money alongside us, I think, what we're looking for in investors is for investors that will help us to be bold. We don't want to be in a polarized view of how to do things. We want people to actually add value to what we're doing and help us to think bigger, think more objectively, not just, sort of hire on a whim because we don't have any time. We need people to help us be bold. So that's one of the first asks we have of investors. Now, as far as investing, we know we know the industry. We come from the industry. We've run businesses before, all of us, so we actually are a very safe pair of hands. And, we're not frightened of taking risks, but we're also used to managing risk and mitigating risk as well. So we're not, because we're experienced, we know what we're doing. And we also know how to bring the right advisors around us to help us work out what the potential is of the business and to help us understand exactly what it is that we need to do to get the most out of that. So we're prepared. As soon as we get investment now, we have already lined up key members of staff that we will pull from other businesses that we've already headhunted and we've already been working on. We already have a marketing company lined up, a PR company. We know what we're going to do with regards to upgrading our website. We have a pipeline. We know what sales and marketing we need to put in place to unlock that. So, an investment in us is actually, sort of coming into a situation where we're well seasoned and we know what we're doing. So I think the opportunity then is to come along for the ride with us, but to help us to be bold, as I said, that's actually really important for us. So,
John, thank you very much for coming to BizTalk. It's been a very great pleasure having you with me. And
thank you for having me.
I do wish you all the best.
Thank you, Max.
Great success. Thank you so much.